I load into Snek Mech and immediately I know what this is asking of me. Stay alive, score points, and try again. There is no barrier, no complex setup, just instinct, timing, and reaction. I am inside a world where surviving one more second already feels like a victory, and every coin I grab, every enemy I defeat becomes a small achievement. This is a simple arcade experience, but it matters because it gives me a clean space to focus and compete. This is a game that came out of a game jam, and it embraces that fast, compact feeling. I am thrown straight into action, and I do not have to think about anything except what is directly in front of me. Move, shoot, jump, eject, stay alive. That is my loop, and it creates a rhythm that keeps me fully present. There is a certain purity here, especially when I see leaderboards. 2 of them, one for my points and one for how long I make it. It means it never ends. The challenge is always there even when I die, because I can always hit restart, take control again, and try to beat myself. I do not need a deep story. I do not need leveling systems or menus, because sometimes the most powerful design is the one that removes everything except the core survive and prove something to myself. I like how flexible it is. I can play on my keyboard. I can plug in a controller. I can even play on mobile. It never tells me how I should enter this world. It just opens the door and lets me choose. There is something welcoming about that, especially for players who might not usually sit at a desk or people who game on the go. It feels like the universe behind this project wants everyone to have the chance to join. As I jump, shoot, and dodge, I can feel how Snek Mech blends silliness with intensity. I am piloting this robot, but I also know at any moment I can eject, shed, and survive by any means. That mechanic, that ability to abandon the mech adds a layer of tension. I am constantly deciding, should I stay inside for power or jump out to survive? It becomes a heartbeat moment every single time. When I sit here playing, breathing, reacting, I feel how intentional this experience is. It wants to be fun. It wants to be light, but it also wants to push me just enough. It gives me something to aim for, to improve, and to come back to. That is what makes this introduction to Snek Mech feel alive. It is not about lore or narrative or grand spectacle. It is about that internal spark, that tiny drive that whispers, try again, one more run, do better, and for a game built in such a compact context, that is already enough. When I think about why Snek Mech exists, I see something very intentional. It is designed to give me a clear purpose. Every time I press play, survive, score, and keep going, there are no layers to peel back, no hidden demands. This game wants to stay honest, fast, and understandable. I enter, I react, I learn, and I repeat. And that loop is the heart of its goal. What really stands out to me is how this game is made for people who love that retro arcade feeling. It is for players who enjoy immediate reward, quick failure, and infinite retrieves. There is no pressure to commit hours, no mountain of mechanics to memorize. Instead, Snek Mech exists for those who want a pure direct challenge. It invites me to play without needing past experience, and that makes it feel open to everyone. This simplicity is not an accident. It is a choice, a vision that says gaming can still be about instinct, fun, and moment-to-moment excitement. In a world where so many games demand complex onboarding, this one removes friction. It strips everything down, and in doing that, it becomes something bigger, a space where I can just be a player, not a student of systems, not a reader of instructions, just someone reacting in real time. But I also feel the presence of something larger. Snek Mech is not just a standalone game. It sits within a vision that belongs to the Pixel Cap Games universe. That universe wants to build experiences that connect, where players are not only interacting with a game, but becoming part of a community. The idea that free-to-play and open access can coexist with layers of optional rewards and ownership is powerful. It means I can enter casually, yet there is room to grow deeper if I choose. Sometimes while I am playing, I imagine where this can go. More games, more features, more surprises, but what I respect is that nothing here forces expectation. The only concrete intention I can feel is this: give players a place to try, compete, enjoy, and maybe stay. And that might be the most honest mission of all. This game shows me that the vision is not to overwhelm, but to give a doorway, a reason to press restart, a reason to come back tomorrow. Because sometimes what we look for in gaming is not a giant world or a complicated system. Sometimes it is simply a challenge waiting to be beaten, and Snek Mech holds that space steady, respectful of my time, and ready every time I click play. As I dive deeper into Snek Mech, I begin to feel how its features define the rhythm of every run. This is not a game loaded with menus and systems. This is a game where almost every feature is tied to motion, reaction, and survival. The clearest feature is the survival challenge itself. Everything depends on staying alive. I keep moving, enemies appear, and obstacles begin to push me. There is no pause, no safe break. The clock and my instinct become one. Another feature that immediately grabs my attention is the leaderboard system. There are 2 leaderboards, one for points and one for time survived. That alone changes the emotion of a run. Time makes me cautious, patient, waiting for danger to open and escape. Points push me into aggression, shooting, chasing coins, taking risks. It gives me 2 identities, the survivor or the score chaser. and every time I begin, I subconsciously choose which one I want to be. The controls are a standout feature because they are not a barrier, they are a doorway. I can move using WASD or arrow keys, I can jump with space or W, or the up arrow, I can eject from the mech with X or K, and I can shoot using J, Z or Y. The flexibility here is intentional. It makes the game accessible to whoever I am and whatever device I have, and when gameplay becomes fast, having choices in movement and actions feels like freedom. The eject mechanic is where tension becomes personal, because in the middle of chaos, I get to decide whether I abandon the mech. Ejecting is more than a button, it is a statement. It says I would rather live even without the armor than fall with it. Every time I hit that key, I can feel the split-second decision, will this save me or will it leave me exposed? And that makes the feature unforgettable. Coin collection adds another emotional layer. I never ignore them, even though I know going for coins might cost me my run. Coins become temptation, reward, pressure. They fuel the score leaderboard and they shape how bold I become. And that is powerful because it turns movement into meaning beyond the gameplay itself. I know this game is part of a universe that includes digital collectibles called Arcadians, but their existence is not inside this gameplay. Instead, the gameplay stands alone, clean, honest. Nothing interrupts my focus. Nothing distracts me from the run. What makes these features shine is how each one invites me to become better. Not because I am told, but because I feel it. Every feature in Snek Mech, from controls to survival to leaderboards, works together to whisper one more try, go again, you can do better. As I keep playing Snek Mech, something interesting begins to form in my mind. Even though this game itself is pure arcade, fast and disconnected from anything outside its screen, there is a larger layer that surrounds it, a layer that exists through Cardano. That layer is built through the Arcadian collectibles, which live fully on-chain, inscribed directly on Cardano. What makes this connection unique is that it does not interfere with the gameplay. Snek Mech never asks me to connect a wallet, never pauses to explain blockchain, never turns itself into a Web3 tutorial. Instead, Cardano sits beneath the universe that Snek Mech belongs to. I play, I enjoy, and only if I choose to, I can step into something deeper. These Arcadian collectibles, which are part of the broader Pixel Cap Games world, are what bring Cardano into relevance. They are meant to be stored permanently on-chain, and owning one becomes a key. It gives me special access to gated Discord sections, it lets me enter prize pools connected to leaderboards, and it allows me to participate in raffles and ADA airdrop style rewards. All of that, all those benefits come from owning a digital collectible that exists on Cardano. There is something powerful about that structural choice, Snek Mech. The game is free for everyone, anyone can play, and no one is excluded from experiencing the core challenge. But if I want to step from being just a player into being part of the ecosystem, Cardano becomes the door. The collectible becomes proof of presence, proof of commitment, proof that I have a stake. What is also interesting is that this collectible ownership is not just cosmetic. It offers access to early development builds of games, discounts on game and app development services, and even IP rights that allow holders to build with their Arcadian. That is where I begin to understand the strategy. Cardano lets digital items be more than files. It lets them be assets, tools, and identity. In this moment, while I jump inside Snek Mech, dodging enemies, avoiding hits, I cannot see Cardano, but I can feel its design philosophy. A blockchain that enables ownership, connection, and rewards without forcing itself into my gameplay. That subtlety, that ability to exist without demanding attention, is part of what makes this integration unique. There are no claims here about staking systems within the game, no details about smart contract mechanics, no roadmap about in-game blockchain actions. The only certainty is this: Cardano is the foundation for the collectibles, and those collectibles extend the life of Snek Mech beyond the screen. They allow this simple survival-based arcade challenge to connect to something larger, a world where what I own, what I win, and how I participate continues after the match ends. As I sit here guiding this mech, timing every shot and watching the seconds tick, I start to feel the quiet type of value this game delivers. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is deliberate. Snek Mech offers me entertainment that does not overwhelm, and a challenge that invites me back with every failure. That alone has its own impact, because not every game needs to be heavy to matter. Sometimes simplicity is what stays with me. On a personal level, the value is immediate. I get joy, frustration, tension, and relief, all within a single run. I see my survival time climb, I see my score add up, and I feel that small spark of improvement. The game gives me that little voice that says, next time you can last longer, next time you can earn more. That is a kind of motivation that has nothing to do with technology and everything to do with human nature. There is also value for anyone who shares a screen. I imagine someone watching me laughing when I eject at the wrong moment, cheering when I collect a risky coin, or asking to try it themselves. Mech creates a moment where gaming is not isolating but collective, light and connected. Sometimes in Pact it looks like a living room with two people smiling, or a silent commute made more alive by a quick run on mobile. Then I zoom out and I see how this connects to a broader world, because this little arcade game belongs to a larger ecosystem. The existence of Arcadian collectibles adds a second layer. It lets players step beyond gameplay and enter a space where rewards, gated access, raffles, and community all become part of the experience. And that makes the impact deeper, because it gives meaning to what I invest, not emotionally but digitally. Through Cardano, the value becomes measurable in a new way. My participation can unlock access, benefits, and perks. I can enter prize pools connected to leaderboards, something that makes every run feel like it could lead somewhere beyond the screen. That type of structure brings a sense of belonging to the community. It creates a reason for people to not just play, but to return, to connect, and to remain part of the ecosystem. What I recognize too is that this could bring new players into blockchain without ever preaching it. People might arrive for the game, but stay because digital ownership suddenly feels natural. That kind of onboarding, quiet and invisible, might be its strongest impact. For me, the value is simple. Mech gives me a place to enjoy, compete, share moments, and maybe step into something bigger. Not every game needs to change the world. Some games just need to make the world feel lighter, and this one does that. Right now, when I play Mech, I am stepping into something that already works. The game is here, it is live, and I can access it instantly through its webpage. I do not need to wait. I do not need to download. I do not need to unlock anything. The state of this game is complete in the sense that it delivers exactly what it promises: a survival, challenge, a score, and a reason to try again. As I move through the map, jump to dodge danger and fire shots, I feel how polished the core loop is. Everything that needs to be present for it to function is already here. Leaderboards are active. I can compare myself to others, whether by points or time survived. Controls operate across keyboard, controller, and mobile, and nothing stops me from jumping straight into another round. That is what tells me this game has reached its playable maturity. It is not waiting for features to work. It works right now. But when I look ahead, I realize that I do not have a map of the future. There is nothing in front of me telling me what updates are coming, what new modes might arrive, whether enemies will evolve, or if there will ever be new mechanics added. The only truth I have is this: there is no stated roadmap. I cannot assume, I cannot predict, and I will not imagine what is not written. The path ahead for Mech is not defined, at least not publicly. When I turn toward the Arcadian collectibles, I also feel that same uncertainty. I know what they provide today. I know they live fully on-chain. I know they give access to gated content, prize pools, raffles, early development builds, and even IP rights, but I do not have a timeline. I do not have mint details. I do not know what the next step will be for them. Their future, like the future of Mech, is something I cannot describe because there are no defined milestones written. So instead, I remain present. I acknowledge that this game exists now, and that is enough. It is a complete, functioning, accessible experience, and if I want something more, whether it is deeper gameplay, expansion of mechanics, or integration directly inside the game, I understand that none of it is confirmed. There is a kind of honesty in that I am not being promised possibilities. I am not being sold a dream. I am simply being given a game that respects my time and is available right here, right now. And while I do not know what comes next, I know what I have, and I can choose whether that is enough for me. In this moment, as I play it, is thank you so much for listening to this episode. And before I go, don't forget, if you'd like to receive a very short but value-packed email from me every Tuesday, you can sign up for the Cardano Gaming newsletter. Every Monday, I'll be sharing the latest from the Cardano Gaming ecosystem to help you make better decisions. So if you don't want to miss out, just go to the link on the screen, leave me your email, and very soon I'll be in your inbox. That's all for today. I hope you have a great week.